Hello guys, welcome to another lesson on Laravel. In today's lesson, we are going to see how to use notification facade to send email to different types of recipients. Remember, in Laravel, there are different options for sending out email notification. For example, you can have a class that extends the mailable class so that in your code you use the mail facade to send the notification. Our focus will be on the notification class, and for that we are going to see how to send notification to one user, in this case a user model, and then we see how to send to any email address that is not a user model, right? So it mustn't be user model. We see how we can send to multiple users as a recipient. So in our tool, we are going to have multiple users receiving that email. That's an email that we sent out. Similarly, we are going to do the same with just an array of email addresses. And finally, we are going to see how we handle a case where there is a large number of users or recipients. So for example, say you have tens of thousands of users in your database. So that will be the final case. All right, with that in mind, let's move on. To help us get started and go straight to the point, I have created a new Laravel project. This is a Laravel 8 project. In the project, I have done a little bit of setup. The setup I have done is this. I added the announcement model, this very model you can see on the screen. Then here I added the field label. These are the columns that are mass assignable. By default, a Laravel project comes with the user model defined, so I did not add this. Then this is the migration for announcements table. You can see those fillable columns as well, in addition to the timestamp and the ID. So that we can have some data to work with, in the database seeder, I am inserting some records into the users table using the user factory that comes with a new Laravel project. Over here, this is the user factory. So I am inserting 21 users when I run PHP artisan db seed. And here is announcement controller. The idea is that when new announcement is made, when new announcement is created, we store it in the announcements table and then send out email notification to recipients saying, hey, there's a new announcement, And finally, I have this API endpoint defined here so that you can have a way to store the announcement and take it off from there, store it in database and send out email notification. That is why I have this post request to announcements endpoint, which of course calls the store method in announcements controller. So that is the setup. Now let's get started with notification. To get started with the email notification, we are going to need an email client to handle that. You can make use of Megon, Google, SMTP, whatever option that suits your need. But for this demonstration purposes, we are going to make use of a free client that is meant for testing, and that is Metrap. All you have to do is go to metrap.io and sign up for free. Then under this SMTP settings, we select Laravel under integration, the drop down, Laravel 7 and above. Just go ahead and copy every configuration here. Then head over to .env file, go to .env, and let's just replace those default settings we have from mail, mailer, host, port, username, password, encryption. So I will delete these default ones and merge the remaining two. So the ones I deleted are equivalent to the ones I brought over from Metrap. For the last two, this is the sender of the email. We can say dev@example.com. Close this space here. our setup is complete using Metrap. And I forgot to mention that I connected to database. Of course, you need to connect to database in your own local environment. Otherwise, we cannot store announcements in the database table. All right, that is the configuration for email. Now let's head over to the terminal, to the project root, and generate a notification class. We can do that with the artisan command, php artisan make notification. Let's call that announcement created, because we want to send out this notification whenever a new announcement is made. So you can call it anything you want, but I think announcement created makes sense. Hit enter, and that notification class is generated. We can find that file inside the notifications folder. You can see announcement created. This extends the notification class, unlike the mailable class that extends mailable. Let me minimize this a little bit. Then in the constructor, we can pass whatever we want to use inside this class. For example, whenever a new announcement is created, we want to get the title and the description of that announcement and send it in the email text. So we can say private announcement to be of type announcement. Not that, this is not TypeScript. In the constructor, we can say announcement, then this announcement to be the announcement passed in the constructor. So of course we can type in this if we need to. With this, we can make use of the announcement in the toMail method. This is where we specify the text that the recipient gets in their email inbox. These are the defaults. I'm going to change this up a little bit. The line is like a paragraph inside the email text. So I will put the email description there, the announcement description. This is the action button. They can click. It is optional. You can remove it if you don't want it. But let me just leave it there and say something like view, go to app. So when they click that, it will take them to the home URL of our application. And finally, this is the sign-off line, sort of, that says thank you. For the title, I will make it the greeting. This announcement title. We are going to see how this looks when we send out an email notification. So basically, you're going to have the title of the announcement and the description, basically. Before we move on, I want to quickly point out that we're not trying to cover everything about notification, right? For example, we didn't talk about queue, which is as simple as implementing this should queue interface. And if you have your queue set up, by the way, Laravel has default for that as well. You should be good to go. And down here, you can see we are making use of the default Laravel email template. You can change this to make use of Markdown or Blade template, whatever you prefer. Our focus is majorly on, just on recipients, right? How do we send to single recipient, multiple recipient, user model, whatever. Let's move over to the controller store method. Here we are not going to do stuff like validation or using the request class to handle validation. That's not our focus here. I will go straight to create an announcement from whatever that is sent in as request. So I will say announcement create. For the title, we say request title, and for the description, we just say request description. All right, this we save the announcement in our table. For now, let me just return the announcement as JSON response. Response JSON, the announcement. Save that. So time to test. Remember, we have the endpoint that expect post request to announcement. I'll head over to Postman. I have added this request body, the request payload here, and we are making call to API/announcements localhost 8000. That reminds me we need to start the server. So I will say PHP artisan serve to start the server running at localhost 8000. I can go ahead to send this request now. Send, and we get the response as we defined in the store method. So a new announcement has been created. This is the ID and returned. Okay, that works, of course, but that is not our goal. Our goal is to send email notification whenever new announcement is created. To send notification, the email, there are different options we have here. For example, you can consider what if it is just one recipient. For that, we can easily make use of the user. The reason we are just going to do something like, let me do it actually. I will just pick any user from the table, from the users table. But first, we need to insert some records in the users table. I will open a different tab here. I'll say PHP artisan DB seed. Remember the database seed that I talked about earlier in this video. That is going to insert 21 users into the users table, so we can have user to work with. So our first example will be sending to user. The next one will be sending to multiple users, and let's have it sending to email that is not user. Let's say you just have some email, some list array of email or list of email. It mustn't always be user. That also applies here. So for this first case, we can get any user from the database. Let's say user. First, we take any user there. This is an example of sending to single user, just one recipient. What we can do here is we say user notify. The reason we are able to say notify, let me comment this out a little bit. Go to user model. Over here in the user model, you can see that it makes use of the notifiable trait, right? This is why we are able to just say user notify. It doesn't really only apply to user model. Any model can make use of it, can make use of this notifiable trait. That is why we are able to do something like notify. The question is which notification? Of course, we create an instance of announcement created. That is notification we are sending out. Announcement created. Announcement. I should have auto import working. Let me check something. In a moment. Check the spelling. Announce. Oh, I think I made a mistake here. Should be announcement created. For that, I will also rename the file so the auto loading doesn't complain. Now I will come back here. Let me see. Announcement created. That works. Now this is expecting us to pass a notification instance. So we pass that object notification according to the constructor, what the constructor is expecting, if you remember. This should be able to send notification to user because user makes use of notifiable trait. So I will go ahead and save this and let's give that a try. Over to Postman. Let's just use the same announcement, it doesn't matter. I will send the request again because I am on local environment and this is actually sending on foreground, right? On production environment, this should be a queue that runs on the background. That is why it is taking some time to finish that process, the whole store method and sending notification. Already you can see that we have that email sent to the recipient. That is the user we picked from the database, right? So that works, and you can see those things we are defining in the to mail method in the announcement created notification class. So this is the greeting, that is the title, and this is the description, this is the call to action button, and that is the sign of the greeting, whatever it is, which is what we have here: the greeting, the description, the CTA, and the final line there. So this works. We send to only one user. Assuming the recipient is not a user model like we have done here, let's assume it's just an email address. We can send this email to the recipient using the notification facade. How we do that is we send notification. Make sure to import from support facade, that is Illuminate support facade. That is the right import we need to make use of here. And we say route. This should be mail because we are sending out email notification. The next argument is the recipient. So for example, someone at example.com, that is the recipient. Finally, we say notify. Notify, we take the same argument. That is the announcement created instance that we passed above. Save this. So you can see here that we are not making use of user model like we did up there. Let me comment this out. We go back to Postman and try this. We send the same notification, doesn't matter. That is sent. I will head over to Metrap. You can see we get that notification. So to this recipient, someone at example.com. If you want to add the name of the recipient, let's say for example this person's name is John Doe, you can add it like this: John Doe. Save that, send one more time, send, come over here, you can see the name appears here, John Doe. Now let's look at different ways of sending email to multiple recipients using our notification class. For that, I'm going to comment this out. First, we are just going to assume we have recipient, hope that is the spelling, just a bunch of recipients, right? Like we have here, but this is just one. So what I want to do here is paste this guy, paste another one, let's say Lucy at example.com, Lucy, whatever name, doesn't matter. This is just an example. We can still make use of the facade, the notification facade, to send out notification. Notification route is mail, once again, mail. And the recipient, of course, we pass the array of recipients. And we say notify one more time, new announcement created, and we pass the announcement. So with this, we can just send to a bunch of recipients from just array, right? And of course, this is optional. That is the name appearing is optional. So you can remove it if that is not your requirement. I will head over to Postman, send this one more time. Send over here, you can see we have multiple persons that is getting this email. So if you want to send to multiple recipients and you don't mind everyone knowing that the other person got the email, this is how you can do it. We can actually do the same thing using the user's model. So let me quickly comment this out. Here I will pass users. So for that, I will say users to be, let me get the 21 users I have in the database. Save that. we want to send to users. So we click send one more time. That is sent. We come here, you can see that all those users, they got the email. Of course, Laravel knows how to extract the email address from the notifiable, from the user model that uses notifiable trait. The next thing we are going to look at is, what if we have so many users? Loading all the users like this might lead to some memory issue. So for that case, we are going to do something that is not notification specific. Let me comment this out and comment this guy out as well. What we are going to do is, we are going to say user, I'll say chunk, that is the spelling, yeah. So we are going to take, for example, 10 users at a time. You can take 50, whatever number. Because we have 21 users, I just want to make it 10 per time. So this function, and inside here, this is going to be the users. So this is not notification specific. We are just taking records 10 at a time from this table. Here we can, let me just copy this. Just copy this, save us some time. Announcement, because we are inside a closure, we need a way to make use of that announcement we created up there. So we say use announcement. That arrow goes away. Here we can leave user the way it is, right? So let me go ahead and send the notification again. The notification is sent. If you come over here, you can see that this time we have 3 new notifications. That is this, and this, because we have 21 users and we are taking 10 at a time. So this is the first 10, this is the other 10, and this is the last person, making it 21. So this works. And of course, what if we don't need to extract that, but let's assume, I don't know what your use case might be. Recipients to be equal to, maybe this is not so notifiable stuff. What I want to do here is just to pluck email from user, and we come down here, users command. So this will just give us array of emails from the user, from whatever users that are returned from the users table. We can go ahead and send. This is similar to what we did up here, right? Just similar to that. Let me go ahead and send. Head over here, you can see that works the same way. All right, so far so good, guys. So please hit the like button and subscribe if you have not done so, to help this channel grow, and so that people that need this kind of content can get it. Another thing we can do here is, notice here that the only thing we are seeing is the email. If you want the name to show, we can add comma here. We can add comma here, and we say, not like that actually, let's say name and email. I will send this, then explain what I just did there. That is sent. Head over to Metrap. You can see we get the recipient, this time with the name, the email, the name, the email. So what is happening here is that when you use pluck like this becomes the key, and this becomes the value, and this becomes the key, right? So it's not the other way around, that this is the key, this is the value. Let me show you how that looks like, so you understand better what I am trying to say. I will just delete that stuff there. Head over to Postman, send it, go to preview. You can see what that gives us. email address, the name, email address, the name, which is similar to what we have up here. That is why we are able to send the email, right? Despite that the email comes second here, in the actual sense, that is the key and the name is the value. Okay guys, I believe that we have accomplished our goal for this lesson. We have seen how to send email notification using the notification class to single user, multiple user, the user model that uses the notifiable trait and all that. And this brings us to the end of the lesson. Until next time, happy coding.